There's a lot of stuff happening with Alphabet right now as it relates to the layoffs plus ChatGPT. And so I'm going to cover all of that in this video. So as you guys smash that like button, let me run that intro. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into this one because this is a question that a lot of you guys have been asking me in the comments. What do you think about Alphabet as it relates to ChatGPT? Does that make the Google product less competitive in the future? And I'll give you my thoughts. Obviously, I don't know or have a crystal ball as to how this is going to play out, but I'll give you my thoughts, and I don't think it's as big of a risk as you guys think it is. So first, let's just start with the layoffs. So you guys know that today they actually announced that they were going to cut 12,000 jobs, which of course is the largest ever round of job reductions. But I think this only amounts to around 5 or 6% of the global workforce. So, you know, the critical areas of the business will continue to be focused on. And of course, the stock market actually was up on this information because of course it brings down that labor cost spend. Now, I'm not going to bring down any of their or bring up any of their profit margins or anything like that as a result of this, because I do believe that it's going to get offset by a reduction in ad spend, of course. And you guys might recall that actually earlier in the month, they actually cut 200 other jobs in one of their subsidiaries, which was around 15% of the unit as a whole. And of course, you guys know that these cuts came right after Microsoft also said that they would cut approximately 10,000 jobs. And so, you know, they add to Amazon, and, you know, overall, the tech sector has cut almost 200,000 jobs, or at least they cut 200,000 or almost 200,000 in 2022. And so, these additional cuts just add to it. And, you know, I do think that more are going to be announced for other companies. I mean, I don't expect more to be announced for any of the companies that have already announced, but, you know, this is just the direction that the tech industry is going right now. And, you know, part of that is just because, you know, right after the pandemic, when everybody went on the internet, a lot of these companies hired more because they thought that there was a pull forward in the amount of growth, but it never ended up actually being that. Things are starting to slow down, and so they have to sort of operate accordingly. But that's not really the risk, right? What do you guys think the real risk is? You guys already know it's the fact that ChatGPT has been so successful. That's a company that Microsoft is looking to invest more in. So where does this leave Alphabet and the Google product? Well, you guys may recall that the news recently came out that Microsoft is considering investing another $10 billion in OpenAI, which is the maker of ChatGPT. And recall that they had previously invested $1 billion. And everybody knows, you know, I'm sure everybody who watches this channel has already tried it. You know, it's insane how impressive this technology is. But what I want to point out to you guys is, don't think that just because ChatGPT is so impressive that it doesn't mean that Alphabet doesn't also have a very impressive product. And that's what I'm going to try to explain to you guys in this video. And like, the reason why, of course, everyone's getting scared is because Microsoft is looking to compete with Google. Microsoft wants its Bing product to be used, especially with the ChatGPT functionality. I just don't think they get there. Look, I think they will incorporate ChatGPT into all of their offerings, like they're saying, right? It'll be a part of their search Bing engine. It'll add value to Microsoft Office. I see it already adding value to Microsoft Office because, you know, I'll be in Excel and I'll have ChatGPT open on another screen, and, you know, I may forget how to do something, and I'll just ask ChatGPT how to do it, and it just gives me step by step on how to do it in Microsoft Excel. And so I'm already seeing it help just from that perspective. And then, of course, you know, they said that they're going to make it available on the Azure platform. So, like, the Microsoft products are going to get better as a result of ChatGPT. I just don't think that they're going to dethrone Google as much as a lot of people are thinking in this environment. Now, let's get into that. So with respect to the whole AI space, it looks like a lot of other companies other than Alphabet have been making huge gains. You know, that ChatGPT one is just one example. You know, there's a lot of AI imaging platforms as well, where you just type in a grouping of words and it'll create a picture for you as well. You know, Alphabet, I'm sure they have these products, but for some reason, they're not the ones in the headlines coming out with these new innovations. And so, you know, what does it mean? Well, I think what's happening now is Google or Alphabet is now on red alert. And in fact, Sundar Pichai, their CEO, actually, there's a report that he's brought back the founders to sort of solidify exactly what their strategy is going to be in the AI space, and you can see that right here. So Google has called back its two founders after a rival's AI project threatened to knock it off its search engine pooch, and that, of course, is the OpenAI ChatGPT. And so, according to the New York Times, Sundar Pichai actually issued a code red in an attempt to ask the two companies' founders to return and give their take on Google's AI strategies. And so the two former executives reviewed the company's artificial strategy and, if the sources are correct, have outlined plans to implement more AI features into Google's search functions. Okay, so we now know that Alphabet is going to be looking to put more AI features in their search function, similar to like what Microsoft is doing with their Bing platform, but also, you know, they're going to be implementing the AI into their cloud function as well. And of course, you know, Google is going to do the same with their Google Cloud product as well. So you're seeing these two companies effectively saying that they're going to be doing the same. But then the question I have is, what type of AI product does Alphabet have? And here's where some of you who are in on this already know that Google has been developing a grown-up, allegedly a grown-up version of the ChatGPT, and they say that they're going to launch it very soon. But the question that you guys might have is, how lifelike is it? How good is it relative to ChatGPT? Like, is it just a weaker knockoff, or is it as good as ChatGPT? And you guys might remember this. Remember when they had an engineer who actually thought that it was so good that it came to life. And, you know, he actually got put on administrative leave, and I don't think he's with the company anymore. So what you can say, and this might just be a little bit of a guess from my perspective, if it's been good enough to fool an AI engineer into thinking that it's so real, that it's sentient, then I really think that Alphabet has a good enough AI product. I think they're just waiting to launch it. I'm not sure what they're waiting on, but I'm seeing very limited long-term risk from Microsoft moving first on this space, but we'll see how this plays out. And I just wanted to dive into that story a little bit. So here's his own words. If I didn't know exactly what it was, which is this computer program we built recently, I think it was a 7 or 8-year-old kid that happens to know physics. And so chatbot started talking about its rights and personhood. And then what he did was he presented the evidence to Google to suggest that it was sentient, but Google actually looked into his claims and dismissed him. And so he was placed on administrative leave, and then he went public. And so you guys might remember that this was in the news a while ago. A lot of people dismissed it, but that was before ChatGPT came out. Now that ChatGPT is out, I can very much believe that he thought what he saw was or interacted with was a sentient being. It absolutely makes a lot of sense based on some of the answers that based on some of the answers that the early stages of ChatGPT were giving us. And you guys know that they've nerfed it a little bit subsequent to that. But the question is, when it comes to modeling out Alphabet in this whole new world, how do we sort of like model out the company, and how does this really impact Google search's revenue growth into the future? And largely the direction that I'm taking is that because I don't think that there's going to be a material financial impact for Alphabet, I don't think that this is going to change the way that I'm modeling the company. Now, I want you guys to let me know if you guys are changing it in any way, but I'll just show you what I have. So you can see here's my Google search segment. I'm growing it out at approximately 10% a year. This actually might be a little bit aggressive, to be honest. But, you know, I wrote it up here for you guys just to understand the real issue. And it's the problem is the innovator's dilemma. You know, how much will Google allow a chatbot to cannibalize Google searches, right? Because I think that there could be cannibalization here. I think that there will be none. I think what they'll do is they'll build a layout out in such a way that it'll serve both purposes. Now, I could be wrong in the way that I think about this, but the way I'm kind of thinking about it is kind of how Google's already laid out already, where you enter it right into the Google search bar, you hit chatbot instead of Google search or whatever, and you'll get the chatbot result, but you'll also get the results as if you put it in a search as well. And so I don't know, we'll see, but you know, there's a lot of smarter people than me over there who are trying to figure this out, but I think ultimately they'll intertwine it somehow. So you know that they're working on making sure that the revenue doesn't decline. Look, this is a very a powerful tool, Google searches, to advertise. And you can even put in ads into sort of like the chatbot itself, right? Somebody asks about something and then the chatbot gives the answer, but then right underneath the chatbot says, hey, these are some websites that you might want to try out. And of course, the chatbot will tell you that they're advertised or sponsored websites or something. So I think there's a lot of room for that kind of stuff, right? And so we're just limited by our imaginations. And so what does that mean for the valuation? Well, it means that it didn't change. I'm still valuing Alphabet at around $130 per share. It's trading at $100 per share. So it's trading at approximately 80% of its intrinsic value. Now, if you guys want access to this model and all the other models that the Patreons get access to, you can access all of that at the lower tier of the Patreon. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is that Alphabet is one of the companies that's building out the cloud computing business. However, the company that's taking other companies who are not on the cloud and building out their infrastructure, or helping them build out the infrastructure and get onto the cloud, is a company by the name of Accenture. And so they operate in this ecosystem and nobody's really talking about that. And so I made a full valuation and a full analysis on that company, which you can get to right here.